In this era of information explosion on the internet, we encounter various kinds of information daily, and it's challenging to find the time and energy to carefully discern them. This leads to the widespread propagation of rumors, especially in the field of history. These rumors often spread quickly because they are usually sensational. The story I'm about to discuss has been widely circulated on the internet for several years. Many of you may have seen the associated photographs, which are usually described as showing a Persian princess named Qajar from the early 20th century. She is considered the ideal beauty of that era, the dream woman of men nationwide. The story also claims that because of her beauty, 13 men committed suicide when they could not win her love. Such stories are often accompanied by photographs to add credibility. Contrary to the internet tale, the photographs depict a short, stout woman dressed in a miniskirt, with a physique heavily leaning towards obesity and a face resembling a man's, complete with a short, thick beard akin to that of a man. By contemporary standards, she would be considered far from the conventional definition of beauty, and it is this stark contrast that has fueled the viral spread of this story on the internet since 2017, sparking widespread discussion and debate each time it is shared. People tend to gravitate towards amusing, interesting, and novel content, but few take the time to verify the authenticity of the photos and the story. However, I would like to take the time to share the true background to those willing to listen, as there is a more meaningful story hidden behind it, and real history should not be obscured by rumors. These photos originate from the women of the Iranian court, but not from the early 20th century as commonly believed. They are from the latter half of the 19th century. Additionally, Iran is often confused with Persia. Although the Persian people are the main ethnic group in Iran, Iran has not always been ruled by Persians. The Qajar dynasty, which ruled Iran in the 19th century and is shown in these photographs, was established by the Turkmen. Therefore, accurately speaking, the photos belong to the female members of the Iranian royal family from the late 19th century. Indeed, the portrayal in these photographs does align with the aesthetic preferences for women in Iran at the time. During the 19th century, King Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar had a personal preference for voluptuous women, which led to a cultural standard in the court that equated beauty with plumpness. As it is easier for people to gain weight than to lose it, many women went to extremes in pursuing this ideal of corpulence, leading to what would by modern standards be considered overweight or obese figures. Additionally, Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar not only had a preference for plump women, but also for miniskirts, influenced by Western aesthetics. After attending several ballet performances and admiring the ballet skirts of Western women, the king of this ancient Eastern kingdom eagerly sought to align with Western culture. He began promoting similar short skirts within the court. However, when worn by women who were considered beautiful for their corpulence, the effect was, as one might imagine, quite distinct. Thus, these two trends can be attributed directly to King Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar's unique aesthetic preferences. As for the thick eyebrows and beards on the women in the photographs, these were characteristic of the Qajar dynasty. Dr. Afsaneh Najmabadi, a professor at Harvard University, has stated, "Many Persian texts and photographs from the 19th century confirm that Qajar women considered a sparse mustache, or more accurately, soft down on their upper lips, a mark of beauty." As Dr. Najmabadi notes, this aesthetic reached its peak in the 19th century. Historical and contemporary beauty standards often diverge significantly, such as the European trends of high foreheads, plucked eyebrows, and faces adorned with fake moles. Men too indulged in high heels, lace garments, and bows. Thus, the concept of peculiar aesthetics is universal. Beauty standards are simply specific products of their times and do not inherently denote any ranking of value. Indeed, even though the attire of the women in the photos matched the aesthetic standards of that era, it does not mean that the women pictured were considered the ultimate beauties of their time. Let's now reveal the true identities of the individuals in the photos. In fact, there was no single Princess Qajar. The images are of two different princesses from the Qajar dynasty, who were half-sisters, both daughters of King Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar. One is Princess Fatima Khanum Ismat al-Dawla, and the other is Princess Zara Khanum Taj al-Sultaneh. All the rumors about the princesses on the internet are false fabrications. The princess's attire was indeed popular in the Iranian court at the time, but there is no evidence to suggest they were considered beauties, nor is there any record of 13 men committing suicide out of unrequited love for them. The princesses lived secluded lives within the palace and were typically married off at ages 12 or 13, long before any romantic pursuit could take place. Their marriages were without exception political, arranged with members of the nobility selected by the king. Furthermore, there is no record of either princess being considered a beauty. In fact, whether or not they were beautiful was irrelevant in their lives. What is more significant is that they achieved far greater things than merely attracting men. They were exemplars of progressive women during Iran's westernization movement. Princess Fatima, the second daughter of King Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar, was intelligent and well-educated from a young age, displaying a flair for the arts and winning her father's trust. As an adult, her exceptional knowledge led her father to entrust her with diplomatic duties, a pioneering role for women in the Iranian court of the time, where she was responsible for receiving foreign guests. Princess Fatima was the first woman in Iran known to play the piano and to paint, skills traditionally considered unsuitable for women. Additionally, she was an accomplished photographer and even owned her own private studio. In 1881, when her husband, Mohammad Khan, fled Iran due to political strife, it was Princess Fatima who mediated between her husband and her father, acting as a negotiator. Her efforts alleviated the tensions between the two families, eventually enabling Mohammad Khan to return to Iran. Princess Zara, 29 years younger than her half-sister Fatima, was the 12th daughter of Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar. Born in a later era, Princess Zara held more radical views and actively engaged in the nascent feminist movement of her time, dedicating her life to fighting for women's rights. She set many precedents in Iranian history. She was a writer, painter, intellectual, and activist, hosting a literary salon weekly. She was fluent in Arabic and French and played the violin. Princess Zara was the first woman in the Iranian court to remove her headscarf and veil and wear Western suits, strongly opposing the covering of women's faces with a veil. Her life, her writings, and her role as a feminist are subjects of study in Middle Eastern history courses at universities such as Tehran University and Harvard University. In her memoirs, she vehemently criticized the practice of arranged marriages, lamented the fate and living conditions of women in her country, and sharply condemned monarchical absolutism, endorsing constitutional monarchy. Princess Zara was a pioneer for women's rights in Iran and an outstanding founding member of the underground Women's Freedom Association, which worked for gender equality. She organized clandestine meetings for women's rights and confidently led feminist marches into the parliament, passionately supporting the Iranian constitutional revolution. Princess Zara was the first to vocally advocate for Iranian women at a time when no noble dared to publicly support her radical ideas. Almost fighting alone in this unequal struggle, she was prepared to sacrifice her life. She passionately wrote, "When I see my gender liberated and my country on the path to progress, I am ready to sacrifice myself on the battlefield of freedom, spilling my blood at the feet of my comrades in pursuit of liberty." In Arabic, Zara means brightness, and Princess Zara was like a beacon of light in the darkness, illuminating the path for many Iranian women. Both princesses were pioneers of their time, talented and insightful women whose stories deserve to be told and continued in a respectful and meaningful way, not diminished and mocked amid baseless rumors. Now, it is time to spread the true story.